Welcome back to another episode of Home Turf. I'm your host, Grant Gaspard, and with me today is sports writer Matthew Cobb. We're excited to talk sports, big weekend of college football, and we're going to dive right into it. This episode is brought to you by RideHitch.com. No car, no problem. Hitch is kind of like Uber, except for longer distances. Hitch offers private and shared rides from Aggie land to Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and much more. Your first ride is free if you use code AGSWIN5. Repeat AGSWIN5. You driving home for the weekend? Hop on Hitch, help out a fellow Aggie, and give them a ride home and make a little money off of it. But this is our first ad. Go to RideHitch.com, and yeah. All right, welcome back, listeners, to another podcast by your host, Grant Gaspard. And with me, like I said before, is Matthew Cobb. What's up, Matt?
What's up? What's going on?
So Matthew is his first podcast on Home Turf, and he's a new writer here for the Battalion. Dude knows a lot about sports, man. Been talking to him for a while. Really cool guy. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a sophomore business major from Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm new to the Battalion, new to the podcast, and really I'm just fired up to recap Saturday's game and talk some football.
Yeah. So a little bit about what we're going to do on this podcast first, recapping the 31-0 win against Sam Houston, talk about what happened there, the struggles, what went good, and then we're going to take a little peek into next week with App State. It's going to be a little more interesting game than I thought it was going to be a week ago. Very talented offense over there. We'll dig a little more into that. Also, what's taking place next weekend is what I think we're all excited about, me and Matt both, is the NFL. You excited?
Oh, man, I've been waiting months. I know you have been too.
Oh, dude, football's back, baby.
Football's back. We're back.
We are back. Let's go. All right, so who's your team?
My team? I'm a Cowboys fan, just like yourself.
Yeah, diehard, baby.
It can be tough at times, but
we have big hopes this season. What's it looking like?
Oh man, it's tough to have too much hope as a Cowboys fan if you're realistic.
Yeah, I told myself last year after the way it ended in the first round with San Fran, because I had so much hopes for that team.
Yeah,
I was on that roller coaster ride with them, through the ups and downs and falls last season. And then they just shattered my heart. it was like one of the worst breakups I've had. Was that game. I was in my bed crying. It was miserable. And I told myself this season that I'm not gonna put my hopes up. We're gonna see what happens, man. I hope it goes pretty good. But me and Matt are about to preview this weekend of the NFL. You came in here listening to college football, college sports. We got 5 games we're looking at real quick. We're not gonna preview them. We're going to give you our little picks on the spreads, overs, and what we think are going to hit. And then next week, me and Matt are going to review who won.
Yeah. We got 5 games, 5 picks, and I'm going to have a better record than you. So.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty confident about this 5. All
right, let's get into it then.
All right, so first game we have is, of course, the Thursday night football game, game 1 of the NFL season, Rams at the Bills. So, Matt, what are you thinking for this game?
For this game, I'm taking over 52.5 total points.
So a high-scoring game.
I mean, yeah, life is too short to bet the under. Everybody knows this.
We don't bet under. So
I
stay here at the bet. Oh, and also we don't bet. Let me clarify this. This is not an actual gambling betting podcast. We're not throwing no money on this. It's just a little friendly wager over lunch. Let's say that.
It's all hypothetical.
So a little hypothetical one. So you got over 52.5?
No, I mean, we got the defending Super Bowl champs and the electric offense with Josh Allen. I mean, there's no way they don't go over 52.5.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm going to ride with the returning Super Bowl champs and the Rams. They have them at plus 2.5. I'm going to take them, and we're going to ride and watch them. All right, next game. Browns in Carolina. Okay. This one I'm really excited about.
Yeah, this one, we got Baker Revenge Tour, and give me minus 2.5 for Carolina.
Minus 2.5. It's going to be way worse than 2.5.
I mean, the Browns don't even have a quarterback. Like, I just cannot see Carolina losing this one, honestly.
Yeah, their quarterback is currently suspended for 11 games. Baker's had a few comments on this game. We're not going to talk about it. It's very explicit, but Baker is not happy right now. So I'm going to take the over on 41.5. just because I think the Browns are scoring 41 points.
Wow.
Themselves. I think it's gonna be a blowout, high-scoring game on. Not the Browns. Did I say the Browns?
You said the Browns.
I meant the Panthers. That's my bad. Wow, I'm still not used to Baker being in Carolina.
Crazy take either way.
Yeah, crazy take. I think the Panthers are about to drop 41 points, and I think McCaffrey's gonna have a healthy year. Hopefully, past 2 years have been abusive.
I hope so.
Speaking to existence. All right, next game we have the Steelers at the Bengals. Matt, what's your thoughts on this?
Give me. Let's see here. I'm gonna go Bengals -6.5. I mean, we're playing the Steelers. We got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. This offense is electric. Didn't even mention Joe Mixon. I mean, there's no way they don't win by a touchdown at least. I mean, the Steelers team, Big Ben's gone. What's their identity? All they have is Najee and a subpar O-line. I mean, I think this might be a blowout, so give me the Bengals to cover.
I agree. I think I'm real excited about Kenny Pickett there. If he does get the start, I think it'll be a close game. But if not, it will be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, they're playing in Cincinnati. This is a rival game. Sometimes rival games are close, sometimes they're not. But still, if this is the same Bengals team as last season, I think they're going to go right back to where they ended it last year. Different ending. That's a whole different talk. I'm going to ride with the over 44.5. If Kenny Pickett starts, I think it's going to be an intense quarterback battle between Joe Burrow and the Pitt native.
I like it.
So, next game, we got 2 more left. Chiefs at Cardinals. What you thinking, man?
Once again, give me the over here. We got 53.5 for the team total. I mean, this is going to be exciting. We have Mahomes with no Tyreek. We have Kyler with no D-Hop, adding Marquise Brown. These offenses, the receivers switch up. I mean, it's going to be exciting. I could see both teams starting slow, but I think at the end of the day, both teams are going to be able to put up points, and it's going to be an exciting matchup right here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cardinals plus 175. They have lost, or they haven't lost, but they will be without D-Hop for about 6 games, but they do have Hollywood Brown taking his place. I'm real big on Kyler Murray. He just got paid a fat contract. Let's see if he lives up to it. It's just one of those hot takes where I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to take the Cardinals. I'm tired of the Chiefs being good. Let's take money line plus 175 Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that hard of a take. I mean, the Cardinals, every single year, they start off red hot. They're always the best team until, week 9? So
Week 9.
I like the pick.
Okay. Next game, we have Raiders at Chargers. It's going to be in Los Angeles. Big game, big recap of last year. Arguably one of the best games of last season. Could have resulted in a tie, but Las Vegas got that game-winning field goal by Daniel Carlson. Great kick. They went on to the playoffs and lost in the first round. But arguably, it was a really good game. It's going to be a little rematch of last year, week 1. I'm going to take the Chargers covering the -3 spread at their home stadium.
All right, and I'm going to be the opposition here. I'll go +3, Las Vegas. I mean, I don't know. We got Brandon Staley. He lost it for him last year. I mean, Justin Herbert is great, but he is a little young. I mean, I think Devontae Adams, you add him to this Raiders offense, and they're a big unknown. There's no telling what they could be this year. So
yeah,
I'll take the points. I'll take +3, and I like that play.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, they had this interview with Derwin James at the beginning of the season. You see him talking about Hunter Renfrow, receiver for the Raiders.
Okay.
He was there talking to Derwin James about some of the best receivers he faced, and one, Hunter Renfrow, and now that's who the Raiders got this year. I mean, Chargers might have a problem with Hunter Renfrow and now Devontae Adams. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm excited to watch it, but those are our plays, and we'll see how they line out.
Yeah, I mean, next week we'll get a little recap. We'll get a scoreboard going, and
we'll see who came out on top. I got a confident feeling, man.
I don't know about that one, man.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get back to college football. So, Sam Houston and Texas A&M ended their game later than expected on Saturday. We had a 2-hour and 54-minute halftime because of a little lightning delay. But they went into that halftime of 17-0, ended the game 31-0. It was a shutout. It was a victory. A win's a win. They move on to App State. But we're going to kind of dig into what exactly happened during that game. Some of the positives, some of the negatives. And let's get into it. You ready, Matt?
Yeah, man. A lot of takeaways from this game.
Yeah. Let's start off on the offensive side of the ball. Everyone was expecting certain someone to have a breakout game. Who I'm talking about in particular is A-Chain. He ended the first half with 8 rushing yards and 8 attempts. But can we necessarily blame the running back that game?
No, not at all. I mean, it's all on the offensive line. It was very poor showing, and it was tough to watch in the first half. It really was.
Yeah. After the press conference, someone asked him about his performance, A-Chain's performance. They didn't ask him, they asked the coach, Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher said the line really did underperform, but Sam Houston did a great job with their schemes on the defensive line. There was a lot of twists and turns at the last second, kind of caught them off guard. We're also without one of our starters, Bryce Foster, from last year. What's going on with him?
So, Bryce Foster, the word on the street is he's dealing with the illness. Obviously, he missed all the spring, track and field, missed a lot of fall with injury and illness, and so we don't know when he'll be back. We had Matthew Cobb starting yesterday, and you've got to assume that really hurt the offensive line as a whole, missing the center. Yeah, I mean, all of us are hoping he'll get back out there, one way or another. All of us are hoping either he'll get back out there or this unit and Wyckoff can get it together. We got App State next week, and so we'll see what offensive line coach Steve Adazio can get together. So
yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell that, especially at the start of the game, a lot of high snaps. Man, saw that quite a bit, which kind of gave us. Snaps are crucial. That's probably the biggest part of the offense, and the center's the biggest part of the offensive line. Sometimes called a captain on the line. If the snaps aren't there, screws up the whole play. A lot of high snaps in the first half, which kind of gave us a second off, which gave the defensive line a chance to get back there. You can also say that's the reason why A-Chain really had a rough first half and a kind of average second half and overall average game. Hopefully they get those snaps down, because if Bryce Foster ain't there, we're going to need this guy to step it up next week.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go on. First touchdown of the game. Keith Brown, sophomore wideout out of Miami, Florida. Lined up in the slot, beat his man on the fade route. King lofted the ball up with the perfect amount of air toward this left sideline, and he caught it and took off for a 66-yard touchdown. Absolute beautiful play. The way that Haynes was throwing the ball down the field, I was expecting a play like this to happen in the first play of the game. What did you think about that from Keith?
It was fun to see, man. I mean, Aggie fans have been waiting to see something like this for a while. A wide receiver downfield with legitimate separation from the DBs, and Haynes hits him in stride. Keith, obviously, not the biggest, but he's got all the speed in the world, and so it was cool. It was cool to see Keith finally. I believe that was his first catch. Is that true?
Is that his first catch of the season?
Well, obviously of the season.
I'm not the season of his career.
I believe it was his first catch of his career. And took it to the house, so it was fun to see there.
Yeah, going back to what you say, seeing us getting guys downfield and throwing the ball, getting the ball down, we saw a lot of that at Haynes King.
Oh, yeah.
He was real confident, real risky with his throws. I mean, he did have 2 interceptions, but we did have 3 big touchdowns. One of them to Anai Smith. I was expecting him to have multiple touchdowns this game, which I think he did. How much did he end with?
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns this game.
Yep.
One being on a 63-yard touchdown with a huge block. Remember that?
Keith Brown.
That was Keith Brown?
That was Keith, yeah.
Really? I had that hit. They asked him after the game, Anai Smith, if he saw that block on that touchdown pass. He said he was running down the field, looked back, and right when he looked back, he smacked that guy, which it was actually B.J. Foster, Texas University transfer. He had a pick. Well, was the pick before or after that touchdown? You remember the pick Haynes King threw? I think that was before.
It was before, yeah.
It was before, and then Keith Brown went up to Haynes, said, "I got you."
Yeah, man, he laid him out.
Yeah, dude. What'd you think of the receivers' performances that game overall, and Haynes King?
So, head coach Jimbo Fisher has really placed emphasis on getting the ball, pushing the ball downfield this offseason.
Yeah.
Because he knows all the outside criticism, all the comments about the old, outdated offense, and he really wants to answer those questions. I mean, not only for his team's performance, but for recruiting. Speaking of recruiting, I really liked what I saw out of the 2 5-star true freshman receivers, Evan Stewart and Chris Marshall. They kind of just jump off with their athleticism. Both in their first games, both had over 3 catches, I believe. I mean, Evan Stewart was out there the entire game. It was great to see.
That was real exciting little glimpse of the future. We had that game. Evan Stewart had a really good game. Chris Marshall had a good game. And multiple times when Chris Marshall came in, I just had a feeling he was going to make a play, and he did exactly that. And it was kind of funny seeing him because every time they took Chris Marshall out, you saw him getting frustrated, stomping off the field. That kid wants to play.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Marshall was not even an early enrollee, so he's only been here since summer. He had 4 receptions for 41 yards. Evan Stewart, obviously, 5 receptions for 57 yards. I mean, Evan Stewart's almost our number 1 option already. And, I mean, were there 2 or 3 downfield shots King took towards him? They just didn't connect on. So Stewart could have had a massive day yesterday.
Oh, yeah. No, Stewart had multiple above 10-yard catches for first downs. I mean, he averaged, 10.7 yards per catch. He looked really good. There's multiple times where King was trying to hit him downfield. Went into double coverage. Couple of times, couple of them resulted in picks. Couple of them resulted in just incompletions. But he was trying to get the ball down there to him. And I'm excited for that first play where he takes it himself, 66 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, looked really good. I think Chris Marshall and Evan Stewart were the leading receptionists behind, and of course, Anai Smith had 6 receptions for
160 yards and 2 touchdowns.
160 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the next 2 guys were receivers, man.
Yeah.
Real exciting. I mean, the freshman there had a huge impact on the game. Let's kind of talk about that other side of the defense.
Yeah.
What did you see out of that defense, and then also all the freshmen on that side of the field?
Yeah, the number one thing that stuck out to me, besides the shutout, of course, was just how many true freshmen I saw rotating in and out of the game. I mean, there were guys, Levius Overton, he reclassified, so he should still be in high school. He was playing significant snaps. Anthony Lucas is out there, Shamar Stewart. They had Dion Smoke Bowie at corner, Denver Harris, both of them rotating in. Jacoby Matthews, the safety, got in the game. All these high 4-star and 5-star true freshmen, all of them are immediately game 1 getting in the game, and it's really cool to see all of them very athletic and obviously going to have a huge just talent infusion for the team.
Yeah, I'm real excited about all the. I mean, that was kind of a big question coming in this year. How many freshmen are we going to play? Are this best all-time freshman recruiting class? Are they going to make an impact in their first year? And so far, it looks like it did. And the question was asked to Jimbo after the game about, we're just trying to get freshmen in, or are they going to actually have significant playing time down the season? And he said yes. He said we threw a lot of freshmen in that game, but it's going to look like this a lot. I mean, we had a couple freshmen at defensive back like Smoke Bowie, Denver Harris, Jacoby Matthews, all them guys. But we also had a big corner out, Jalen Jones.
Yep.
What are your thoughts? I talk about Jalen Jones a lot on this podcast. What are your thoughts on him overall, and what kind of impact do you think he's going to make to this team?
Yeah, so in my opinion, the cornerback room is just a lot up in the air. I mean, we have, what did we just mention? We mentioned 2 5-star guys immediately coming in Smoke Bowie and Denver Harris. We have Miles Jones. He wasn't out there, but he's a returner. Brian George played significant minutes. Tyreek Chappelle. He had a fantastic freshman year last year.
Yeah, and he had a really good game this time too.
It's just a matter of where all these pieces fit together. I mean, Jalen Jones is obviously the biggest, most physical corner we have on the team. Yeah. And so if that's what we're looking for, hopefully he gets healthy and he gets back out there. But yeah, cornerback is definitely an interesting position. Cornerback and defensive line, seeing those rotations and who starts and gets significant minutes will be definitely a situation to monitor.
Yeah, I mean, that's something going into the season I was kind of stressed about, and that's something I looked about looking at my projections. And we're kind of deep at a lot of positions, but if I had to pick out a weakness and illness of our team overall, and that would definitely be the outside corners. But after this game, these freshmen have definitely stepped up at that corner position. Jalen Jones is someone I really want to see which he had a great season last year. And there's something, I say great, but listen to this. So the plays that he did give up were big plays. Of course, that's the one people are going to remember, right?
Yep.
But he had quite a few. He had a lot of pass blocks, a lot of deflections. He played good defense, but he also gave up some big plays in crucial moments, aka the LSU game in particular.
Yeah, that one hurt.
That one hurt. But he's someone that I want to see step up this year and kind of take these freshmen under their wing. Something that was unusual about this game, too, is the tight end position. So usually in the past, I mean, we usually have a tight end that kind of gets a lot of receptions, kind of a bunch of quick throws to him. This game, we threw a lot of deep passes, but no tight ends were really involved. What's going on with that position this game?
Yeah, so I think me and everyone else who follows the program was expecting Max Wright to be the starter and to play significant minutes, if not the majority of the game. But he was not out there. He's not expected to be out there for a few weeks. And so we had Demetrius Crownover. He's kind of a tight end. They're converting to a tackle. He was kind of playing the sniffer position. Like, it was almost like 6 offensive linemen on the field. We had Donovan Green getting some snaps, but 0 catches for Donovan. And then Jake Johnson had the only catch from a tight end from his brother at the very end of the game. When the
it was 2 yards, but it was still kind of cool. Like, whoa, Max and Jake right there.
Yeah, they had the connection for sure.
Yeah. Tight ends looking like they were used more for a blocking reason rather than getting downfield and making plays. I mean, clearly it kind of looked like we needed an extra blocker.
I mean, I think a lot of it was just game scripts. Like, we couldn't get anything going on the ground. So if we get the run game going, I think we'll use the tight ends in pass catching situations much more.
Yeah, especially that second half where, like you said just now, that we couldn't really get our run game going because of the way our offensive line performed. It caused Jimbo Fisher kind of switch from a shotgun formation to an I formation, which those of you who don't know typically what an I formation is basically, it's for like running situations. In the I formation, basically the tailback starts 6 yards behind the center where the quarterback's on the right under him. The formation kind of gives the tailbacks more opportunities to find weak points, kind of in the defense, or to run, give them kind of a running start. And that's what you saw come out of the second half for about 8 plays, whereas Haynes King right under the center, and then Devin Chain in the back, and Nye Smith kind of at the fullback position. Talked to Jimbo after the game, asked him, are we going to see more of that? And he said basically depends on the offensive line. If we can't get nothing on the ball, we're going to have to switch to that formation. And it worked. We got the drive down the field. Devin Chain had, 32 yards that drive, and we ended in the touchdown. I don't know if we're going to see more of that this year. If we do, that's cool, but I hope our offensive line can step up. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I mean, that win's a win, 31-0. Let's put Sam Houston in our rearview mirror and look forward to App State, man. So this App State game, what do you see about this? You nervous? Excited? What's your overall thoughts about this game going into it?
Yeah, so this one might be more interesting than I first expected. I think the big question everybody has on their mind is offensive line and quarterback play next week. App State put up 60 points this past Saturday, so
crazy game.
Yeah, obviously it was against North Carolina, and we expect to have a much more talented and deeper defense than them. So hopefully, and I believe that our defense will be able to limit them, but in my opinion, this all comes down to the offense. Do we get improved offensive line play and a little bit better quarterback play from Haynes King next week? What about you?
I mean, like you said, they just finished the game. They're coming off a loss at home against UNC, 63-61. From that game, you can see that both offenses are really talented. That's something you can expect under definitely an offense like UNC with Matt Brown. He's always had a very significant offense. App State has one as well. There's quite a few players that I kind of saw from this game who had really good games. One of them being Chase Bryce, my bad. Chase Brown's a running back from Illinois I was watching this weekend, and he was a stud. But Chase Bryce is their starting quarterback. He's a senior, transfer from Clemson. So this is a Clemson quarterback. This is a quarterback from a Power 5 school, from a really good program. He threw 36 passes, connected on 25 of them, had an overall 361 yards, and he had 6 touchdowns that game.
6 touchdowns. You hate to hear that after
that does not sound good. I mean, that's good for them, a little scary for us, but like you said, I'm not really worried.
Yeah, I don't expect him to get anywhere near 6 touchdowns next week. Mm-hmm. I hope he doesn't. But yeah, what a day for the young man.
To watch out for is Nate Noel. He's a running back 1 for App State. Had only 14 carries and had 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's from, similar to Yul Keith Brown, also from Miami, Florida. Don't know the two know each other. It's a pretty big city. Doubt they do. They could, though. Anyone else that you saw that you think could be a big impact at App State?
Yeah, so App State's leading receiver was Deshaun Davis, the sophomore wide receiver. 6 receptions, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty solid stat line right there. And on defense, junior Nick Hampton, 5 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. That's a great game right there, and obviously very impactful for them.
Yeah. So, like, we're seeing, I mean, we kind of said here, their defense not somewhere we really need to worry about, I guess you can say, after they just got 63 points put up on them, but there is someone we should watch out for, you think, is Nick Hampton.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, dude, 5 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and a forced fumble. Sounds like he's kind of everywhere on the field. Game we're real excited about looking into this week. The Battalion will put out more information, more detailed information on specifically their offense, their defense, players to watch out for. Battalion's going to have it here. We're going to have articles on here. Big game coming this Saturday is going to be at 2:30.
Yeah, so this next Saturday is actually going to be huge for the program before Miami comes to town, and then we go to Jerry World to play Arkansas. I mean, those 2 back-to-back games are huge, and it all starts this coming Saturday against App State. Got to get the line going, got to get Haynes King in a rhythm, and I mean, I believe in head coach Jimbo Fisher. I think we'll be able to
trust Jimbo.
I trust in Jimbo. I think we'll be able to get it going. What about yourself?
No, I agree too. A lot of things we need to work on. A lot of things I was expecting, and that I was able to see, like Evan Stewart. I feel like he's gonna have a breakout year. I'm excited to see him next week, the week after, and throughout the whole season how he develops. But yes, I can agree with you. Offensive line needs a little work in. They need to fix out some kinks along the way. Defense look pretty good. Kind of want to see them more in the backfield this game. They had a sack here and there, but I feel like with how deep and how young our defensive line is, we should be back there every play.
Yeah, we for sure weren't bringing any pressure on Saturday, but hopefully we'll see a little bit more of it. I think DJ Durkin is more aggressive than Mike Elko, the past defensive coordinator, and so I think he'll draw some stuff up and we'll be good.
I'm excited, man. We have a special guest here today, former sports editor and 2021 Texas A&M graduate, Ryan Faulkner, is with us today. What's up, Ryan?
How's it going, Grant?
It's going good, dude. I'm excited to see you, man. I missed you, man.
It's really weird not being down here in the Bat Cave every day, so it's good to be back.
Yeah, I know. So we're not seeing you down here, but I heard you were here this weekend, and I just had to get you on the show. The listeners need to hear your thoughts and your words. Because do you remember that podcast me and you made? And we never got it out there.
The unaired tapes.
Unaired tapes. We need to find those tapes and get them out there.
We can come back and release them one day.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan, man. So, how you been? Where have you been? And what's been going on?
I'm doing pretty good. So I graduated, December 2021. About 9 months ago. Spent some time freelancing after the battalion before moving up to Connecticut. Worked with ESPN for a summer or so, which was the time of my life. And then now I am, unfortunately, at the University of Texas. I know you can hiss at me, whatever, but I'm studying sports law at the law school there.
Well, look, dude, I'm proud of you. That's awesome. How did you get your start at the battalion?
How did I get my start? So, I was taking a sports reporting class here at A&M, and part of the assignment was you had to pick like an intramural team to cover for the semester and just throw some stuff to the battalion as a guest contributor every once in a while. But something happened and the battalion's soccer reporter had something come up, some other obligation, couldn't cover it. And so I was like, hey, I've never done this before. I don't know AP style, but if you want to give me a shot, I'll go cover some soccer. So it just sort of serendipitously happened. I showed up to the press box. My very first event to ever cover was Texas A&M UNT. It was a scrimmage, an exhibition match in soccer. Literally the only one in the press box. The Eagle didn't have anybody. The battalion didn't have anybody else. 12th Man didn't have anybody. Texags, nothing. It was just me in this like giant press box by myself. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But it worked out. I loved it, and that was the moment that I decided to actually go into sports journalism, like as my specialized part of journalism, and it stuck. I covered them for the whole season. That was the year we went to the Elite Eight. So I sort of felt like I was cheating, taking the team from somebody that like actually worked for the battalion.
Yeah.
Because they were the most successful team, Texas A&M team of 2020 and 21, which is crazy to think about. But I loved covering them. They were so much fun.
Yeah. So there's a lot of history between you and soccer.
Absolutely. My first ever feature for the battalion was over Coach G. Guerreri.
What's the background? What led up? Pretty much like what's the background information they need to know?
Yeah, so I mentioned G. Guerreri. It's hard to talk about the soccer team without going into him. He's in his 30th season now, which is crazy. He was A&M's first soccer coach, the only one, and just got a 4-year extension through 2026.
Really?
Which was interesting because they actually just had their first ever losing season last year. So the extension sort of caught people off guard. What do you think that says about the program, Grant, to give somebody an extension after a losing season?
Universities, program, the people over it shows their confidence in them. You know, they've seen him have good seasons. One bad season doesn't really put a label that this is a bad coach. You know, they've seen confidence. He's had good years. One bad season doesn't say a lot. They're trusting the process, trusting the future with this guy as the coach. And I think they just want to stick with him and see how this all plays out.
Oh, no doubt. As of now, he's the 5th winningest coach in NCAA D1 history with soccer. So he's the real deal. But one way we've sort of seen that manifest this last year or so with the soccer team is his recruiting. He brought in this absolutely star-studded freshman class, and they are just beasts. You know, a lot of the time we see the football team graduate early and come in so they can do spring trainings with the football team. He actually brought in the girls to do that with soccer this year. They graduated a semester early and did the whole spring training. So the freshmen have been the real focus, the feature of this team this semester, which has been really, really cool. As of now, after this most recent game, there are 4 wins, 0 losses, and 2 ties. The most recent game was Sunday playing Ohio State. They did blank them 0-0, but that was game 2 of a Big Ten road trip. They beat Illinois 1-0 in the first game, but I don't know. There's just...
So who's some of, if I can ask, some of those freshmen you talked about that are coming in, any of them making immediate starts, and not just freshmen, any key players that these people should be looking for when they go catch the next game?
Yeah, so the key players as a whole, in my mind, is the back line. They are just so unbelievably strong. They've allowed, I think, 12 shots on goal across 5 games. That's why other teams have only scored once on Texas A&M since the season started. The back line is just so unbelievable. They just nail and hammer it in. And so that's led by 2 familiar faces that we've seen a lot. That's seniors Carlina Sample and Katie Smith. They were on the team when they had that Elite 8 run through the NCAA Championship tournament that I talked about. But the third one that sort of surprises people is actually freshman Carolyn Calzada.
Calzada, that sounds familiar.
That does sound familiar. She is the younger sister of former Texas A&M quarterback Zach Calzada. She committed to play here when he was still on the roster here. And even though he transferred up to Auburn, she decided, this is the place I want to be. Let's rock with it. And it's worked out. She's played the full 90 minutes in every game she's appeared in. She's really, really making an immediate impact.
That's good to hear. And so far, it sounds like they're having a pretty good start to the season. No losses yet.
No losses, still undefeated.
Still undefeated, 4 wins and just a couple ties. And been, like you said, that last tie coming off a big road trip that they went on.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Overall, how'd that road trip go? What other teams they faced?
The other one they faced was Illinois, who they did beat 1-0. Neither them or Ohio State are necessarily soccer powerhouses, but they are, they're P5 contenders. They're always going to have good. They've got the players, they've got the money. So to go and do anything on the road, whether it's a win or a tie, I think is a good sign. Yeah. And leading up to that, Aggies have outscored their opponents 17-1. 2 of their wins have been 8-0 and 6-0. 11 different players have scored. So this is a dynamic offense. Even though they didn't score in this game most recently against Ohio State, they've proven that they're capable of getting in there and putting the ball into the net. So they'll be a fun team to watch for the semester for sure.
Any games coming up that you're excited to see or that should be a good game?
Absolutely. Dude, this very next game is the most exciting one in my mind. This Thursday, it's number 6 TCU is coming to College Station, be playing at Ellis Field. That'll be the highest ranked team that the Aggies have faced all season. Right now, when we're recording this, the Aggies are 18, TCU is 6. So by all definitions, the Horned Frogs are expected to be better, but College Station, Ellis Field it's a game changer, dude. This most recent home game against, who was it, New Mexico State?
Yeah.
6,000-something students, 11th highest attended collegiate soccer game of all time.
Yeah.
The home field advantage that A&M has here in College Station is unbelievable. So, I don't know. I think they've got a chance at least.
No, the way you're talking, the way that back line sounds, defensively, they sound like a really defensive, talented team. Going in, I mean, packed house against New Mexico State. If you're listening to this, spread the word. Go watch this next game on September 8th on Thursday against the number 6 ranked TCU. It's not going to be a game to miss.
No, I think we're also going to see a really cool side of the Aggies just being more aggressive. So through their first 5 games, they had one of the highest sportsmanship rankings in the nation. 0 yellow cards, just a few fouls. And then this game Sunday against Ohio State, 8 fouls and 3 yellow cards. I'm not really sure what changed, but they stepped onto the field and I think just said, hey, we need to be more dominant. We need to make something happen. Let's get passionate. Let's get fired up. So if they carry that into TCU, they are going to be aggressive and hungry for a win.
That's exciting. And, you know, the Battalion here will have someone covering that game. We'll have news post-game about what happened if you do miss it, but sounds like you shouldn't. So I would definitely go check that game out against number 6 TCU. Something else I want to talk about, since I have you on, Ryan, I heard you said you were in Connecticut for the summer?
Yes, sir. I was working up for ESPN, which is awesome.
ESPN, man. Yeah. That's a real deal. That's a lot of sport journalists dream to go up there and work at ESPN, and you're living the dream, man. But that all came with hard work, and I've seen your writings. I've seen your... I'm going to brag on you for a little bit, man. Take it in.
I'm blushing.
Take it in. But this is a real smart guy, knows a lot about sports, real intelligent, great writer. And ESPN got a great intern in him. Why don't you talk about ESPN, man? What's
Okay.
Well, how did that go down? Who's some of the guys, some big name guys you met over there working at ESPN that the listeners might know? And then overall, just how was it?
Oh gosh, dude, I hate that I signed up for law school because it's a 3-year commitment. Because it means I have 3 years before I can go back. I'm already ready to get back up to Bristol. So just for the background, I was in the Programming and Acquisitions Department, which basically means scheduling, negotiating contracts. I worked a lot with the legal team, which sort of paired into the law school type deal. But my big project for the summer was working on the NBA schedule for this upcoming season, which was a lot to deal with because there's like 1,000-something games. But I got to, I was in meetings with the league. We got to draft which teams ESPN wanted to have more showings of rather than TNT over on Turner. So just a lot to go into it, but it's like a giant puzzle. It was so awesome. So cool.
That's awesome.
I got to go to the NBA draft, which was cool. I was there when the finals were being covered, which was cool. You know, we had our boy Time Lord, Robert Williams III, A&M grad, 2018, playing in those finals. That was cool to watch. I may have snagged an extra pair of victory goggles that the Warriors got, so it was so cool.
You trying to donate those or?
Absolutely not.
What?
Absolutely not.
You should have got 2, man.
I was lucky to get 1. But, I mean, even outside of NBA, I was meeting so many people. I had lunch a couple times with Field Yates. He was my boy. I accidentally walked into them my very first day of the internship fielding an episode of Fantasy Focus. I met Woj. I had lunch with him, which was really cool. I hung out with some of the college football writers that we had. I had lunch or coffee, I guess it was, with Katie Barnes, the DEI reporter there. They're really cool. So I got to meet a lot of people. It was a really cool time.
No, I saw this picture you posted with Phil Yates, and I was like, dude, you're lucky, man. That's not lucky, but you earned it, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
It was just really cool because, you know, ESPN has the rights for SEC Network. So part of the gig is they have one intern from every single SEC school up in Bristol at the same time. So it was like, there was a lot of trash talking going on, but there was this kind of community as well, which was really, really awesome.
So that's good. You got to build relationships, make friends with opposing SEC editors. Were they really cool people though? Like,
they were awesome.
Yeah,
it's funny. We've got a group chat now, and so the games Saturday, everybody's sending pictures. They're all in some press box or down on the field or something. It's like, oh, this is a talented group. I'm glad I know them.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be you next summer if they got to have an Aggie, Grant.
I would love that, man. That would be a dream.
I'll see what I can do.
See, pull some strings, man, so you can get me up there in Connecticut, man. That'd be awesome.
Hey, man, don't forget who got you on this podcast in the first place.
I remember that. I was nervous my first podcast. I walked in here just sitting in the chair. I was like, oh boy. So far, how's your first podcast been though, Matthew? How you liking it so far?
It's been cool, man. It's a cool experience for sure. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't think that before I even write my first article that I'd already be doing a podcast. So
yeah.
That's pretty cool, you know, jumping right into it.
No, I'm glad you stepped up and asked. By the way, yeah, Matthew, I asked the whole desk. I was like, I didn't ask, but I kind of sent a message out there. and I needed some writers to step up and join the podcast, and Matthew was one of the first ones, dude. And I was really excited to get you on, man. I'm going to have you on next week. It's going to be real cool, man. Let's get, kind of wrapping things up. Let's look into this next week of A&M football. Not A&M football, A&M sports, plus football.
All right, so starting off tonight, Tuesday the 6th at 5 p.m., there is a volleyball game against Sam Houston State. I mean, we already whooped them on the football field, but
and blanked him in soccer too.
Oh, all right.
That was the 6-0 game.
So let's see what volleyball can do on the court.
Let's see if we can blank them in volleyball as well. We got a soccer game against TCU, 7 p.m. On Thursday the 8th at 7 p.m. we have a soccer game against 6th ranked TCU, just as Ryan was talking about earlier. So that should be a big one.
Yeah, y'all be sure to go. And then we have men's tennis. We have a mock duel in Orlando, Florida. That should be a very interesting one to watch. And then another volleyball game this Friday against Louisiana Raging Cajuns at home. Should be an interesting matchup. And then what's taking place this Saturday?
I mean, we got the big one. We got the football game, Appalachian State, 2:30. I would say everybody show up, but I already know that the place is going to be packed. Kyle always is. It's going to be an awesome game. Can't wait.
And then Sunday, September 11th. How about, Ryan? How about you send us off with what's going on September 11th?
So we do have the men's golf with the Badger Invitational, Madison, Wisconsin. Should be fun to watch at the very least if you're a golf guy. But I'm most excited about the soccer game. As you know, big Aggie soccer guy.
Of course.
1 p.m. versus South Alabama at Ellis Field in College Station. Free admission, always is. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah. Always free, man. Just go in, go catch a game. I'm excited, man. I'm getting kind of emotional right now, man. It's my last. It shouldn't be the last. I'm going to try to get you on another podcast. We're going to have you back here. We will. In the future.
I'll swing by.
We won't have a specific date, but thank you for just coming like this last minute. I literally called you up today. I was like, come on, and you came on, and you're perfect, man. That was awesome, man. I appreciate having both of y'all on. This was the Home Turf Podcast, episode 11, and yeah, see y'all next week. This episode is brought to you by ridehitch.com. No car, no problem. Hitch is kind of like Uber, except for longer distances. Hitch offers private and shared rides from Aggieland to Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, and much more. Your first ride is free if you use code AGSWIN5. Repeat AGSWIN5. You driving home for the weekend? Hop on Hitch, help out a fellow Aggie, and give them a ride home and make a little money off of it. But this is our first ad. Go to ridehitch.com, and yeah.